Sundays in Starkville. I'm Ford Polk, and I'm bringing you the sights and sounds of Starkville's last Sunday Fun Day.
Picking up the pieces, I'm Cole Brundage. Find out how one man recovers after big storms roll through.
Dinner for two. Find out more as Starkville looks to make a local change to a nationwide law.
Some local restaurant owners were breaking the law but claimed they didn't know that allowing man's best friend onto their patios was a violation. As Take 30's Walt Hill explains, Starkville leaders are now trying to make it legal to dine with your dog.
Over the past few weeks, Starkville hosted a meeting where they considered changing their law that would allow animals on local restaurant patios. The Food and Drug Administration Food Guys says that no live animals of any kind are permitted on the premises of grocery stores, restaurants, or other food establishments.
You know, dogs are a big part of the neighborhood. It's a very pedestrian-friendly area, popular spot to walk your dogs, you know, between University Drive and campus. So we'd love to, you know, be a break on that traveling spot and be a place that you can sit down, have a drink, have a meal.
Starkville did vote to move forward with this, although they will have more voting early next year with state representatives.
We've always had a dog-friendly patio. Maybe it'll just bring a little bit more awareness to the issue that you are able to do this.
Yeah.
And hopefully it would, you know, boost our patio sales a little bit. And it's a good time of year to come out as well and open up the patio. So hopefully people will just come out more with their animals.
Restaurants will not allow dogs inside unless they are trained service animals. This means that they are registered and they've gone through the proper training to do so. The only change to the law will be allowing dogs on the outdoor patio. This law will only go effect in the Starkville area.
A few restaurants in Starkville, like the Ben 612 and Bulldog Burger, already advertise that they are pet friendly. This will open the door for other restaurants in the Starkville area to get some more traffic.
This local law change would not go into effect until early next year. One dog in particular is getting a lot of attention across the world, and for good reason. His name is classified, but his photo isn't anymore. President Trump tweeted this dog, who was part of this weekend's U.S. operation resulting in the death of ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Trump says the dog was injured while chasing Baghdadi down a dead-end tunnel. Baghdadi was wearing a suicide vest and detonated it in the tunnel, killing himself and 3 children. The president said that the tunnel collapsed during the explosion. The dog, part of the Army Delta Force, which executed the raid, was believed to have been injured from an electrocution and is recovering, according to U.S. defense officials. The president and VP will assist Mississippi ahead of next week's statewide election, and it's all to support Lieutenant Governor Tate Reeves, the Republican nominee for governor. Reeves faces Democratic Attorney General Jim Hood in November 5th election, and as we told you last week, polls show that that race is very close. President Trump plans to host his rally at 7 p.m. on Friday, November 1st in Tupelo's Bancorp South Arena. Free tickets are still available on DonaldJTrump.com. According to the Reeves campaign, Vice President Pence will attend a campaign rally on Monday, November 4th at the Mississippi Coast Coliseum in Biloxi. That rally is scheduled for noon. Free tickets for that are also on Reeves' website. And of course, there are many local and statewide races on the Tuesday, November 5th ballot. For a sample statewide ballot, visit our Facebook page at Take 30 News MSU, and next week we'll cover the election results right here on Take 30 News. Well, it was a wet and windy weekend for most of us and dangerous for some as remnants of Tropical Storm Olga moved through the area. The storm caused damage to homes and buildings and even trapped Tupelo Mayor Jason Shelton in his home. According to the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal, Shelton was trapped by more than an hour by a fallen tree. Emergency responders removed him and carried him out on a stretcher. He was then taken to the emergency room and he is okay now. The Tombigbee Electric Power Association reported nearly 20,000 customers were without power at the height of the outages. 2 North Mississippi men face murder charges following a gunfight that killed 23-year-old woman. The Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal reports 20-year-old Javion Boxley of Red Banks and 31-year-old Jeremy Young of Holly Springs are each charged with first-degree murder and other crimes. Holly Springs police say that the 2 took part in a fight outside of a house earlier this month. The Marshall County coroner says 23-year-old Demetrius Lachey Moore was shot in the neck and died before she could be taken to the hospital. Police say at least 3 others, including Young, were wounded by gunshots. Boxley and Young are in jail with bail set at more than $2.7 million. A $260 million settlement is in place. In Ohio, 3 major distributors of an opioid manufacturer settled with 2 counties to avoid the first federal opioid trial. McKesson, Cardinal Health, and AmerisourceBergen were the 3 distributors who agreed to pay the 2 counties. Teva, an Israel-based manufacturer of generic drugs, agreed to pay $20 million over the next 3 years and donate $25 million in opioid addiction treatment medicine. But so many people are still struggling with addiction, many of them college students. Take 30's Ben Phillips shows us what resources are available.
I think one of the great things that Mississippi has started is the prescription monitoring program. And so with that, doctors are able to see if a person is doctor shopping.
Doctor shopping is a practice of visiting multiple physicians to obtain multiple prescriptions for otherwise illegal purposes or a medical opinion that is in your favor.
We've also received funding from our president for opioid prevention, which Stand Up Mississippi is a huge advocate for opioid prevention.
Having funding is a step in the right direction to help those addicted to opioids get clean. But what about college students? What are we doing to help them, or are we doing enough?
But I think when it comes to our college populations, we have to provide a little bit more for them.
But how much more? What else can we do on a college campus to help?
Some universities outside of Mississippi are providing naloxone training. So me actually having that training and having that on me means that if I think someone may be going through an addiction for opioids or things like that, I'm able to help them so they don't overdose.
According to many different health surveys, medical analysis, and medical research, opioids can become extremely addictive. And once you find yourself on a tough path, just like these doors behind me, it can be a struggle to find your way out. But let's see if we can come up with a strategy to help prevent that.
Being educated, definitely being aware of what's going on your campus and in your community. Know what resources that you actually do have. Mixing alcohol and other drugs is not a good thing and could be deadly because alcohol is a depressant while most of your opioids are a stimulant, and that doesn't mix well.
Azell says Mississippi State doesn't offer a locked stone. There are programs on campus. If you would like more information or need help, you may contact the Collegiate Recovery Center at 662-325-3192. After the break, a very special homecoming king and
one man who won't let weather get in the way of telling his life story.
Have you ever thought about becoming a teacher, but the challenges of life or travel restrictions keep holding you back? Mississippi State can get you there. With our convenient online courses, you can earn a degree in elementary education while learning from MSU professors on a schedule that works for you. And the best part? Graduates enjoy high job placement across the state. So why wait? Take the first step toward a better, more fulfilling career, no matter where you are.
This is the best thing going at Mississippi State right now.
We are doing so many different things that we learned in the classroom that we are now getting to apply that I didn't think that we would get to apply.
It's really invaluable. People that you meet, the connections that you're gonna make are priceless as well.
PRISM is gonna prepare you for the future.
You're getting something that most college students don't get in this major.
Just go for it. Like, there's really nothing to lose. You can only go up.
The real world experience is here while also getting the college credit.
There's so many different aspects to it outside of public relations.
We can use anybody's interest and anybody's expertise to really kind of go into public relations, because public relations is really all inclusive.
Don't let the name hold you back from applying, because we do need more people other than public relations.
With the cooler weather, the fall season has brought a lot of rain to Starkville as well. While many people are still having issues with it because of the drought that we just had. For others, it means even more work needs to be done. Lala Evans created his own personal museum called La La Land right next to his house years ago. He shared his story all over TV from networks like CBS and The Ellen DeGeneres Show, as we can see here. But what happens to La La Land after a big storm? Take 30's Cole Brundage is here live to tell us the story. Cole?
After another tropical storm came through the south, La La Land took a hit, turning over umbrellas and muddying up the ground. For Lala himself, he took all the weather with a smile on his face.
See, at 86, what else? Ain't got nothing else to do. Try to keep La La Land going.
And with storms coming through and knocking things over, putting it all back together can be a mighty task. But Lala says he doesn't mind and lives by his motto of, it's all good.
I use this old term, after the storm, the calm. I just wait till after the storm and walk out and say, oh well, we'll pick up the pieces from here.
The reason he does all this is because La La Land is a testament to his life and his love for his late wife, Louise. Since 2011, Lala has been giving tours to people from around the country and then some. He takes them throughout La La Land, asking musical trivia, singing and dancing, and even doing a little hopscotch. Walking through this garden and hearing Lala speak, you can tell that this is more than just junk to him. Each thing here is a representation of his love. For Lala, the experience he's had making and showing La La Land make it all well worth the effort.
It's amazing, man. And the most amazing thing about it, I call it Lala's junky art. You know, whole bunch of junk out here, and people come out here, I know they be fooling me sometimes. Oh, I just love this, you know. But if they love it, I love it even more.
Lala says that he loves giving tours and welcomes visitors any time of the week. In Starkville, I'm Cole Brundage with Take 30 News.
12 between McDonald's and Hardee's. What does the wet weather mean for farmers who had been dealing with the drought? You might think they'd welcome the rain, but as Take 30's Kellen Osby explains, too much rain can cause major problems as well.
Recently, it's been pretty dry outside, and it's caused a lot of problems for farmers and agriculture experts alike. However, that has been remedied by the 6 to 8 inches of rain Mississippi received this past Sunday.
Rain, rain, don't go away. Stay just another day. Lately, the South has been suffering from an intense flash drought that's been threatening the livelihood of crops and encouraging wildfires. But don't worry, the National Drought Mitigation Center has reported that some of the South is healing.
Rain can heal the drought, but can too much rain be a problem too? Dr. Darren Dodds explains how too much rain can also threaten crops.
It was very, I say very, was potentially very detrimental. Part of that being in some areas of the state, there was a lot of wind associated with the heavy rain, and when cotton, if you picture a cotton boll sitting there open, rain will do what's called string that cotton out of the boll, and then wind can totally knock it out of the bowl. But probably just as potentially harmful was the fact that our soils are now saturated with rain. They're calling for more rain tomorrow and tomorrow night. And we're at a point in the time in the year when it's cooled off. And when it cools off and it's wet, the soil does not dry out very quickly, so that further delays harvest.
I'm Kellen Osby for Take 30 News.
Don't go anywhere. We have a very special story on our special homecoming king after the break.
They come from across the country. Some are battling brain tumors, others vertebral and spinal conditions. And as rewarding as our work often is, it can be frustrating at times. That's because brain and nervous system conditions are difficult to diagnose and treat, especially when they affect patients who can't talk. A while back, we saw a chance to start something special here. Introducing innovative imaging to better understand brain and spinal cord diseases in cats and dogs. Having that type of information makes a substantial difference when developing treatment and surgical plans. It also aids in personalizing the rehabilitation process. The toughest part of our job comes when our patients are well enough to go home. As thrilled as we are to see them walk again, a big piece of our heart goes out the door when they leave.
Ask anyone who lived through Katrina and they'll tell you, a hurricane's rage can be mighty unforgiving. Death, destruction, despair, for as far as the eyes can see. The comeback that began immediately continues a decade later, and Mississippi State's Gulf Coast Community Design Studio has been here supporting these efforts every step of the way. Within hours of landfall, our teams were on the ground, surveying the conditions of homes and helping local residents with cleanup. We even relocated operations from our main campus some 5 hours away to ensure faster response time. Today, we're a national leader, partnering with local agencies to construct stronger, more affordable housing while exploring ways to make coastal communities more storm resilient. We don't pretend to know how to control the weather, but you can bet we're doing everything we can to control its fury.
In the final week of next month, MSU will be celebrating Homecoming Week. Our homecoming king and queen have already been crowned, but as you're about to see, there's more than meets the eye to our king's story. Haven't already, meet Spencer Kirkpatrick. A very popular man here at Mississippi State.
You remember when I stopped you in the union?
Yeah, man.
Trying to give you a kiss.
He's busier than most students.
Yeah.
Being a super hard worker at the Perry Cafeteria, the Sanderson Center, and the OCH Regional Medical Center gift shop. All while juggling all of his classes, this one of his more active ones. Yet he always seems to find time to put a smile on the next person's face.
Oh, top.
What's your favorite song?
Rap.
Who's your favorite rapper?
Me.
He's a senior, so he's on his way to graduation. But he'll go with a crown and gown instead of a cap and gown with his being elected the Mississippi State University 2019 Homecoming King.
Spencer.
We only found out he could run the day before campaigning started. So we were hitting the ground running, and we had the banners being done, we had the stickers being printed. It started off as a campaign for how much Spencer loved Mississippi State, but over the week it became about how much Mississippi State loved Spencer. And so I started calling it the Everybody campaign, because I feel like a lot of the times it's people you know, but suddenly there were people we didn't know that wanted to help.
He's gotten all kinds of recognition for his achievement, even appearing on SEC Nation for the game against LSU.
Oh, yeah.
However, he's the first Access student to be elected to the homecoming court at MSU. His friends, family, and supporters are optimistic that this will be a step forward for students with intellectual or developmental disabilities.
To have Spencer be the first one was just another step towards making the campus more inclusive. It just goes to show how embracing the student body is of our Access students.
Congratulations
on getting homecoming king.
Thank you.
Though his walk across center field for the homecoming game is 24 days away, he can't quite contain his excitement. So if you happen to see our homecoming king going to and from class, say hey. You'll likely end up leaving the conversation with a smile.
Whoa.
Whoa.
If you would like to see Spencer and Queen Rachel Dumke on the field, you can attend the MSU homecoming game on November 23rd against Abilene Christian. Sunday Fun Day is a family-friendly community event that has been a staple in the Cotton District for almost 3 years. It was started by a host of artists and musicians that wanted to feature their talents. Ford Polk has more on this past Sunday Fun Day.
The final Sunday Fun Day of 2019 was one for the books. An hour longer than usual, it featured food vendors and better-known bands paid for by grants. And it gave local artists a chance to show their work.
So my thesis will be about alcohol because it is really important. People, I think, overlook the consequences of how bad it is. So that's what these pieces are about.
My granddaughter, I call this Kristen Inspired. She's 6 years old, and this is something we started doing together.
Sunday Fun Day is on its third year in the Cotton District. They each feature art, candle making, and music. But what makes this last Sunday Fun Day special?
We did this last year. We closed the road off. It's just a slightly bigger event. We bring in a couple better bands.
CBDB was the headline band. It was their first time at Sunday Fun Day, and they have headlined several large festivals in the past around the South. Sunday Fun Day has changed dramatically since it was started 3 years ago, but tries to stay true to the local community.
You know, anybody can come out. It's family-oriented, brings a lot of different groups of people together.
With Take 30 News, I'm Ford Polk.
It will return to the Cotton District on the spring of 2020.
Expectations to trading players. I have all the sports news you need to know about coming up next. We'll be back after the break.
When you're the best, everyone wants to see what you'll do next. At Mississippi State University, our team of world-class rocket engineers is venturing beyond boundaries, building rockets like none before. We're launching a new era of space exploration. We've developed cutting-edge technology that's helping us build a rocket that can travel at 4 times the speed of sound. Fast? Yes. But more importantly, revolutionary. For you and for a space program that produces many of the conveniences we enjoy today. We're shaping your life in ways you never dreamed. What's next? Watch us and see.
Welcome to Take 30 Sports. My name is Rebecca Fox. Well, if you're a Mississippi State fan and happen to miss a game this Saturday against Texas A&M, you didn't miss much. Mississippi State suffered yet another loss against Texas A&M this past Saturday with a score of 49-30. Our defense forced 3 turnovers, and the Aggies' offense made touchdowns each time. Although the Bulldogs seemed to move the ball a little better in the second half rather than the first, the Aggies' defense was able to hold the Bulldogs' quarterback, Garrett Schrader, most of the afternoon. The Bulldogs continue to travel as they take on the Arkansas Razorbacks this weekend in Fayetteville. With only 3 wins and 5 losses, questions are raised not only among Mississippi State fans, but also in the SEC world about head coach Joe Moorhead. The Dogs haven't had it this tough for over a decade and a half, but Moorhead says that they aren't panicking yet. In a press conference Monday, he said they are certainly focusing on their concentration and all of their efforts and on practice and preparation to make sure they are ready to take on Arkansas. To be bowl eligible, the team has to win 3 of the 4 final regular season games. One of those 4 is against undefeated Alabama, whose State hasn't defeated in 12 years. So some say it's unlikely State will come out on top, so they have to beat Arkansas. Mississippi State had 2 players selected for an all-SEC women's basketball team. On Tuesday, SEC released its all-projected standings as well as the order of finish, and the Bulldogs women's basketball team is thought highly of this season as SEC expects them to be finishing 3rd behind South Carolina and Texas A&M. State senior guard Jordan Danbury was chosen for the conference's first team along with 8 other players. The women's season will start on November 9th. You can find tickets online at hellstate.com. Last night in a game 6 of the World Series, the Washington Nationals won a wild and at times controversial game over the Houston Astros by a score of 7-2. With the win, the Nationals have forced a deciding Game 7 back in Houston tonight. Some takeaways from the Game 6, Astros pitcher Justin Verlander had a few hiccups in the last inning, while the Nationals pitcher Steven Strasburg did exceptionally well. With the Nationals breaking records and Game 7 approaching, it's no joke that both teams will have all hands on deck, but who will come out on top is questionable. Typically, the home team wins with a 55% chance, but that certainly is not a trend among the World Series. The game will start at 7 p.m. tonight. You can stream or watch it on several channels. And that's all we have for sports. Toss it back to Richard.
Thank you, Rebecca. Well, if you're in need of a warm-up before Halloween, we've got a great thing for you. How about the Spooky Zumba class? Mississippi State's Department of Health Promotion and Wellness at University Recreation are sponsoring Trick or Treat Yourself. It's tomorrow on the drill field from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Attendees are encouraged to come dressed in Halloween costumes. They'll have free food for you, prizes, pumpkin painting, and Spooky Zumba, of course. That's about all the time we have for tonight, unfortunately. Remember, you can always follow us at Take 30 News on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Of course, we will be here next week on Wednesday at 4 o'clock on MSTV. If you'd like to see more of our show, though, we do have more for you to take a look at on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. That's about all the time we have for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you back here next week.